Welcome. I'm your host, Dustin.
And I'm your co-host, Dean.
Yes, this is Dean's third episode as
I'm getting
co-host.
it, man. I'm starting to get it. I should say Dean of the Dead. I'm your
Yes.
co-host, Dean of
Hey,
the Dead.
whatever is
I'll
easier
get it
for you.
eventually, man. I'll get it eventually.
But today we have a
Us
very,
Brits.
very, very special episode over here on the Within the Barrens part of the podcast. We have Tim Jacobus. I think I'm saying the last name right.
Pretty close. Jacobus.
Jacobus. Okay, I keep
said it was
going
Jacobus.
back and forth
All
between
right.
those ones, but thank you for correcting me because I'm awful with names. So anytime I mess up, just let me know. But this is very, very special to me and Dean. It's kind of a frightful episode, if you will, because Tim is the legendary artist behind all of the 1990s Goosebump books that I grew up with and fell in love with. Watched the TV show a million times. It's still on Netflix, so I watched that as well. And Tim has been a part of my life for a while through the art. And Dean, I don't know if you want to insert anything that you want to say before we jump into
Oh
any of the
man, no,
questions.
I'm a huge fan of Tim's work, man. I really resonate with all the colors and everything. I come from a family of artists, so the minute I
Very cool.
saw the Goosebumps covers, I was just immediately drawn to them. Colors just yeah, they do something.
For
Is there
sure.
there's a word, isn't there, when you can hear colors? I don't know what it is. It's like a certain word when you sort of, I don't know. I'm a musician. I'm a bit on the spectrum, so I don't know. A lot on the spectrum. But no colors. Yeah. But no, I'm a huge fan of your work, man. A huge,
Well,
huge
thank
fan.
you. It's very nice of for both of you. Much appreciated. And the artwork was done a long time ago, and the fact that here you are, grown men, and this still finds a place in your psyche, and you still find it to be worth something. That's great. Nothing better.
Yeah, and I
Absolutely,
was. Oh, sorry, Dean.
No,
I was
that's
actually.
I
Go
was
ahead,
going to
Dean.
say that was it. 30 years ago, was it? 92 was the first book, right?
Yes, welcome to Dead House, July of '92, and last month was our official 30th anniversary.
Wow, man.
Yeah,
Time
that's crazy.
flies.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
And I was actually trying to find all of my Goosebump books, but I think I have them at my mom's house right now because I was gonna set them all up, all the ones I had, because I still have them and they're all in still really good condition. And I was like, damn it, I couldn't find them in time. But yeah, this is an absolute honor, Tim. So thank you for taking time out of your
Oh, thanks
day
for the invite.
to come
Much
over here.
appreciated.
Yeah, honestly, I was surprised because usually if I reach out to anybody with a higher stature, in the world of whether art, horror, or anything, usually it takes a while for them to get back to me. But you were like, yeah, let's do it. So
Yeah.
it was awesome.
Well, if there's a break in the action and I'm not, if I'm not involved in something, sure, I'm always willing to talk about this.
Yeah, and it's awesome. And I guess before we really start jumping into how you got involved with Goosebumps, I always like to kind of take it back with anybody that we interview and see where it all began. Were you always a fan of doing art? Was there an artist that inspired you when you were younger? Something you picked it up later in life? Like, tell us a little bit of like how it all began.
Um, my dad could draw, and when we were kids, he drew as not as a professional or as a career or anything like that, but he would use it as a way to communicate. So if you're at the dinner table and he's telling a story and then he goes, oh, you know what I'm thinking about doing? I'm going to build a deck on the back of the house. And then he'd flip over the napkin and then he'd get the pencil out and he'd go, and it'll look something like this.
Oh wow.
And he had a real good, quick way of just getting things down on paper. And I thought that's how everybody should communicate. Because it was done for me, then I started to do it as well. It wasn't until I got a little bit older and started being exposed to other kids in the outside world, and I realized, oh, not everybody does this. So it started out primarily just as a communication tool. And it really wasn't until I was way far into high school before I even discovered or somebody talked to me about a career in using my artistic abilities. Art was just something that was fun or cool, or just it was a side thing. No one in my family was in the art business, so I really did come by it kind of organically, naturally. So that I think that had a lot to do with me staying interested in it. I think if it was, hammered in on me too early on that, if you want to get into an art career, you have to be doing this by the time you're 11, and you got to be able to do, that kind of stuff, I think would have burned me out pretty quick.
Yeah.
Can you remember what your first ever commission piece was? The first time you ever got paid to do a commission? Would it have been like in high school back then?
It was just out of high school.
Wow.
Let me think. I got to think about it, because I did so many things. So I also started playing with the airbrush, and in the I'm in high school in the late 70s, going into the 80s, and in the 80s, motorcycle tanks and painting vans is a big thing. And I had a friend who had a body shop and did that stuff. And he's like, man, if you can learn how to do some graphics on the tanks and on the vans, there's some work here for you. So I'm trying to think if I did a motorcycle tank first or if I did an actual painting first. I think I did a painting first. It was an acrylic painting. I got $200 for it. That was a lot of money.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, $200. I was rich. I was rich. So,
I want to be an artist.
But it was from a friend, somebody I had grown up with. Thought my work was cool enough and thought it was worth paying $200 for. So 1978, maybe 79.
That's awesome.
Year I was born in 79. My grandfather was a sign writer, and he used to do the same. He used to do vans, lorries, old pub signs, like way back in the day. Just all. But he was a fantastic artist, and I used to watch him in his garage when he used to draw, and his hand was just so still. I used to think, how does he do it? How does he get those lines so perfectly straight? But yeah, he used to do a lot of vans, say pub signs, big lorries, buses, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that's, again, all these things are individual art forms. I got away from the vans and the motorcycle tanks. I was okay, but there were people who really had that right. And like you say, the ability to do pinstriping and do freehand lettering, that was another art form, and I didn't quite have that. So I could do the cool little picture in the corner, but I had to bring in other people if they wanted pinstriping or hand lettering. So again, there's so many cool ways to create, to make a living in the art business. And back then it was so much fun because you got exposed to those people who were really the early pioneers. I worked with a guy. I painted a little illustration on a fire engine, and this guy could do the gold leaf lettering, and that's real gold. The gold flakes would come out, and I learned, sat there and watched him for a whole day while he did his thing, and he sat and watched me while I did my thing. And again, so many cool techniques and abilities that you just stumble upon, and a lot of them are lost. Those are, nobody hand paints letters anymore. Everything's vinyl and stick on, and and die cut. So
digitally printed. Yeah.
Brands,
that was his thing. My granddad, he was lettering was his thing, and gold leaf as well. You mentioned that he used to have books and books and books of it. So come in like a booklet form, and he would sort of rub it on. That was his thing.
Twist it, and he had those little, use a Q-tip and a swirl, or he used a rubber shot. Again, I forget what he did, but it was all it was all mind blowing.
Very cool.
That's funny too, because my dad, he works on cars, and he also knows how to draw. Like, he's a really good artist. He dropped it about maybe 10 years ago. He used to just kind of do it on his free time. He has this really nice horse paintings that he did, like right out of a book, but then he like exaggerated it and made it more lifelike. And I always wanted to learn to draw when I was younger, but I dropped it because of school and a bunch of other things. I really got into music. But talking about doing all the pinstriping, he actually still does that by hand on cars that he works on, and it comes out great. He's like the only person around here that still does that stuff. But with the lettering and everything, yeah, he usually does vinyl. But if he can do a pinstripe at any point, he will. I
so
wish
cool.
that he still was like under the mantle of drawing, but he's gotten too busy in life. But I do want to ask, since we're on the topic of you growing up and working on other projects, was there an artist that was inspiring you that to do these certain things, or is it kind of just what you wanted to do during this
No,
whole
you
time?
get you find people along the way, and when I was in high school, when we listened to music, it was on albums. Album
Yeah.
covers were where that was the place where you saw all the current hot illustrators, because albums were coming out incredibly quick. It was that nice 12 by 12 format, so you could get it, they could do some real nice illustrations. Then if it was a double spread, you could have double that art. And all of us had massive album collections, so that's where you kind of discovered where all the cool artists were. There was a guy named Roger Dean who did all the album covers for a band called Yes.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, and I was just, from the moment I saw his art, I was totally sucked in. And I had a couple of pieces back when I was in high school, and I tried to recreate his art at the beginning, and it was awful, just awful. But the thing about his art that kind of set me off was, okay, when you're at the beginning, you're learning to draw, you're kind of drawing what you can see or what and his visions were always these fantastical places and environments and landscapes and creatures and just stuff that doesn't exist. And I was like, yeah, that's where I got to get. It's great to be able to draw the tree that's outside the window, but you got to be able to take it farther than that to really get people's attention. So yeah, I was, and I still am, a huge fan of Roger Dean.
Wow.
And he's still out there today. He's getting up there in years, but he's still putting stuff out, and you can see him on social media, and still a monster talent.
Oh man, the Yes album artworks, the Yes album cover artworks were fantastic, man. I used to love all those. I was actually really good friends with Steve Howe's son.
Wow, no kidding.
Yes.
Oh wow, yeah.
I used to work with him. I'm a musician myself, and he was a DJ, so I used to see him all the time. And then we got chatting about it, and then he mentioned Yes, and I was like, oh my god, I fucking love Yes, man. And then, and so man. But I love those covers, yeah. And I can kind of see that the inspiration, from what you do.
Yeah, there's a little, of course, everybody influences you, but yeah, you can. I have certain pieces of art where you just go, oh yeah, that's there it is. You can see it.
Yeah. Was it kind of your aim to kind of help kids appreciate and get into reading based on art? Because obviously, I think the Goosebumps series, I think it was originally aimed at girls, right? Was it
Correct.
originally aimed at?
Yeah. In the 90s, early 90s, there was no boy market. The boys weren't interested, and it was mostly because they didn't put anything out geared towards them. They read comic books, but actual chapter books, as we'll call them, it was a non-existent market. So yeah, Goosebumps at the beginning was aimed towards girls, but you guys jumped in there real quick. And they changed the direction pretty fast once there was just endless number of moms calling, thank you so much, my son never picked up a book, and now he's begging me to go down to the bookstore to get the latest Goosebumps. Now, to your original question, no, I didn't even make the connection between, oh, my art might help kids learn to read. It completely went over my head. I didn't get into it for the kids market. I thought I would just be an adult book person. And, again, all I wanted to do was get my art on the cover.
Yeah.
And over the years, between in the 90s having moms and or dads come up to me and thank me, to now you guys are grown up and you coming and telling me yourself that, hey, listen, I couldn't read worth a damn. And then Goosebumps came along and I just, jumped right in. That's such an unbelievable byproduct that I didn't even think of. And it's probably the most important thing that we could have done is, help a generation to read. So total accident, but one of the most valuable parts of what I've done.
It definitely worked. It definitely worked.
Yeah.
So now I guess we can kind of go on to the road of how you got involved with doing the art for Goosebumps. Was this something, did you get in touch with R.L. Stine, or did somebody see a piece of your art and we're like, hey, we need to get Tim to draw on our covers?
Yeah. I had worked with the people at Scholastic for a couple of years.
Okay.
I had been in the business for a little while, not a long time. And I had done a couple of kids books. They weren't horror books, they were just books geared towards kids, like adventure books. And I had proven myself to be responsible and consistent, dependable. Not that I was some monster talent or anything like that. They just, they knew that, if you gave me something, I was going to get it done on time and they'd like what they got from me. When Goosebumps came along, RL was already an established, he was a dude, he had a name, he was doing Fear Street and other stuff, and he was famous. Me being as ignorant as I was, they told me, oh, you're going to work with R.L. Stine. And I was like, okay, I didn't know who he was. So, of course I was like, oh, that's great. Feigned like I knew what I was doing. And they only thought Goosebumps was going to be a couple of books. They were unsure about it because of the, again, thinking it might be too scary for the kids 7 to 11 years old. No one had tried horror books for that age group. And so when they approached me about it, they said, yeah, we're not sure if this is going to go anywhere. We think this is going to be either 4 books or 6 books, probably 4. And we're not sure if you're going to be the full-time artist. We're going to let you do book number 1, Welcome to Dead House. And we're going to let this other guy named Jim Thiessen do book number 2, which was Stay Out of the Basement. And I knew Jim. I don't know if Jim knew me at the time, but I knew him. I had met him a couple of times, hanging around town. And super talented guy, but he had done other horror stuff. So they were trying 2 things, Tim doesn't do horror, and we like his approach and his exaggerated art, and just Jim knows what the hell he's doing. So let's try this. So we did the first 2 books, and they decided on my art, strictly, well, not strictly, but the color that I used on that first book made them go, oh yeah, you know what? These vibrant colors.
Oh yeah.
Take the edge off. These aren't as scary as, go ahead, pull up, Stay Out of the Basement. And those were more muted colors and more dramatic. And they're like, yeah, let's go with let's go with the color palette that's less scary. So,
works.
So I got to do, then when the 3rd book came along, and if I remember right, the 3rd book was Say Cheese and Die. That's when it kind of clicked with me. what we were doing.
Yeah.
The first Welcome to Dead House, that was kind of a very typical horror story.
Yeah.
Say cheese and die. You're already laughing as soon as you read the title.
Yeah.
And then, then we start screwing around, and it's, a family of skeletons having a barbecue. So that's when I was like, oh, I get it. It's humor, it's horror, it's both, somewhere between there. And then we started to roll from there.
Wow.
Was you a horror fan? Was you a fan of the horror genre, or did you just kind of?
No, I wasn't. I was so not that guy. So when I was a kid, I was the kid who, when our parents dropped us off at the movie theater to watch a horror movie, I'd be the guy who would last 15 minutes and then go to the payphone and call his mom and say, "Mom, come and get me. I can't do this."
That's great.
We definitely weren't those kids.
No.
Yeah,
I was begging to watch
maybe that,
Freddy.
maybe I've been only trying to scare myself all these years. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I love the feeling of being afraid, and I think that's what really drew me towards the horror movies, and especially the Goosebump books, because there was no fear in those books, and especially when the TV show came around, it was pretty scary, but it was just enough for you to not want to put the book down. And also the covers, like, just alone, you don't even care what the story was about. You just look at the cover and be like, I want that one, because the art on this is awesome.
It's true, yeah.
And
people buy it with
that's
their
all
eyes,
because
don't
of
they,
you.
sometimes?
So
And
awesome.
that's so cool. Well, there I am telling you that I was not the bravest kid in the world, but if there had been Goosebumps and I read them, it might have been the thing that would work for me, because again, when you're reading a book, it's your imagination. You're the one who's letting whatever happens. They're not throwing those images at you like they do in a movie. You're in control, so you can imagine whatever you want to imagine. And again, those books always had just enough humor in there. They would take the edge off. And again, the encouragement to reading, the hooks at the end of every chapter.
Yeah.
So the structure was real good, and maybe that would have really hit home for me. I don't know.
And that kind of actually. Oh, sorry. Do you want to ask something?
No, man, you go. Sorry, dude.
Okay. I just wanted to ask. When you were coming up with the album covers, not the album covers, the book covers. Sorry. Were you just giving a title, or did they give you the book itself for you to read through it to draw ideas from to make the cover art?
So RL was writing the book at the same time I was doing the cover.
Oh.
So he doesn't start writing his book until he comes up with the title. So I would always get a title, and then depending on how backed up we were, I'd get anything from a few paragraphs about what the book was about to as little as 2 sentences about what the book was about. So and now it sounds like, oh, that's bad. That's kind of good. If you gave me the whole book to read, I would read the whole book, and then I would feel very compelled to put in all those details that were hammered home in the book. But if you keep it general, then I can go to town and do all the things on the art that will just make it better art. And I think that was a real advantage to what we were doing.
Oh wow, okay.
Once you kind of got that rough outline of what you're supposed to be painting, like, how did you kind of creatively get in a zone for that? Do you have like a kind of like a mantra or like a set routine, like listen to music or?
Yeah, always music, 100%. That's never stopped over the years. Always, so back then it was, either cassettes or albums. That's a pain in the ass because albums run out every 20 minutes. So you had to keep getting up and down. It wasn't too effective. But yeah, always loved to have music playing. And usually, going back to what we talked about with the band, that kind of music really resonated with me. The long form music that, there may be only one song on the whole side of the album, 20-minute songs, that works for you because creating art isn't a sprint, so a 3-minute song is just a little too intense. So the long form song, something that just kind of jams and meanders maybe a little bit, is way better for me to be creative. So yeah, I would throw on some music, and I would start with pencil sketches.
King Crimson, bit of Pink
Yeah, there
Floyd,
you go. Yeah, absolutely.
a bit of progressive rock, man. Yeah.
Yep, you gotta love that. I love progressive rock. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
was
Dean.
you
You
a
can
kind
throw
of
some.
was you like a kind of when you're working, when you're doing your work, are you a morning guy, or are you sit up all night kind of artist, sit up through the early into the graveyard shift, or you work better in the morning?
That's a really good question, because we're all one or the other. You're either,
I'm a morning guy.
I am 1000% a morning guy.
Oh wow.
And yeah, and I
so
never got
more
away
done.
from it. And even today, well, not just today, but since my kid was 3, he's 24, 20 years, I've been getting up at 4 a.m. and starting my day. So yeah, I prefer those early morning hours before anybody else is up. There's no emails coming in. There's no phone calls. There's no one else in the house is ever up. And you just have, all your time to get your day started, get your head going. And I usually sit down and get working pretty quick. So those hours from, let's say I sit down at 4:30 or 5, until people are starting to be at work, which is 9, that's a lot of hours. And those are really great creative hours, and you can get a lot done in that morning. Come the end of the day, I'm running out of gas. Once I eat my dinner, I can sit back down for a little while longer, but I'm done. So early morning, love it.
I totally feel you, man. I'm a musician, so a lot of musicians work, because obviously we used to go out, we gig really late at night and get back to But if I'm creating anything, I'm writing music, or I do a lot of writing as well, like creative writing. Always early morning, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. That's when I'm switched on, and I'm, like you say, the rest of the world's asleep, and it's just you, and that it's just so peaceful, and that's when I find I'm more creative. Come 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, that's TV time.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's when I'm slack jaw and just sitting there. The other part of it about getting up in the morning, and there's books about this shit. So it's not that I'm inventing any of it, but when you get up early like that, you're not fully out of your dream state yet.
Exactly.
And you're not fully awake. You're awake and you're moving around. It's not a good idea to go pay your bills at that time. But boy, it's a good time to just let your brain kind of is still in that mushy, area. And you can come up with some really great ideas at those hours.
Oh yeah.
I used to be a night owl. Not so much. I think it's mainly because of my jobs, and also I have a 4-year-old son, so that really, kind of made me turn things around. Having to be up early and try to sleep as much as I possibly can really influenced me. But yeah, mornings, as much as I complain about them most of the days, but I really do enjoy being up early and just starting my day and getting off on the right foot is another really important thing. So if you can do that earlier on. That's another really important thing is when if you can get your ass out of bed at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, you can always right then and there you can check a box and go, I already did something. I dragged my ass out of bed at that hour. Then anything you do at the beginning there, you're already checking boxes going, shit, I got this done. I got this done. I got this done. And you're getting all that stuff done before anybody else even is, even starting to rumble. So, for that overall sense of accomplishment, that is very important when you're in a creative field, because it's easy to go, oh, what the hell did I do all day? Well, you can, if you can say, hey man, I did all of this, it's super helpful, and it keeps you from getting down on yourself too. Exactly.
And you go, all right, wait a minute. You can't go oh, I haven't finished a painting in a long time. It's like, well, that's not the important part. The important part, you did all these things and keep yourself aware of that. So you always know and will always feel like you're moving forward.
Definitely. It's, I know we're kind of going off the beaten track, but it makes me laugh because it reminds me of something so my daughter's, she's turning 16 and she doesn't live with me. She lives with her mum. And it's her birth. Well, it's her 16th birthday this Thursday coming.
Wow.
And I called her up today and I said, right, we're going to do something at the weekend. You know, I'll come and pick you up and we'll take you out. And I said, what time are you going to be up? And she was like, I don't know, 12, midday, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah. I was like, what? So the day's nearly over. What are we going to do then? You know, we can't, you know, but, you know, obviously she's a teenager. So that, I was trying to cast my mind back. I was like, yeah, your day as a teenager does start at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but again, there's nothing. I have no problem with people who do the night shift because I know there's plenty of creative people. That's when it kicks in for them, and they sleep kind of late and they get through the whole day and they're drowsy all day, and then all the switches start to turn on when it gets to be evening, and they plow late into the night, and that's when they're at their best. So again, I think there's some hard wiring to that, and yeah, that's funny because my kid is you know, he's 180 degrees out from what I am. You know, he's gaming with his buddies at night. So there's plenty of mornings where we're passing. He's going to bed and I'm waking up at 4 a.m. It's like, all right, don't even bother shutting off the lights. People must think it's crazy over here.
That's great.
That's brilliant.
So kind of leading back over to Goosebumps, for all the covers that you have done, do you have a favorite that you're always like, yeah, that's my masterpiece right there?
Like a top 5, maybe.
Or you can do a top 5. Yeah, top 5 is good.
We're that's probably better because when people ask, there's ones that I talk about on a regular basis, but then I'll go back every once in a while and go, oh yeah, I forgot about that one, and I like that one. That one's really cool too. So let's try to get a top 5.
There's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot, but one that I like, and I know a lot of people like just due to the way I sell prints, A Day at Horrorland.
Yeah, that one's like really iconic. Yeah.
That one really worked for me. It was a little bit different, you know, the whole idea that, you know, it's the sign out front of the Horrorland, and Horrorland is way off in the distance. It's not that in your face thing like you know, the Haunted Mask is. You know, it's a little subtler and it's more of a classic illustration. I like How I Got My Shrunken Head.
Oh, okay.
That's you know, so there'll be when there were images or descriptions of covers that I was like, well, all right, I kind of get it, but I don't know where the scary part is. That's when I started to play with the perspective of the room and really distort it so that the setting itself became dreamlike or twisted or, you know, trippy, whatever words you want to use. So the How I Got My Shrunken Head has that. And another one that I like a great deal is Egg Monsters from Mars.
Yes.
So, again, a ridiculous concept. And I was like, I don't know how this is scary. And then once I figured out how to come up with the egg monster itself, then I distorted the kitchen, and then it all kind of happened on its own. So let's see what else.
I've always really, really liked Monster Blood. That was always my favorite.
Monster Blood. Well, the whole idea of the Monster Blood, you know, that one was fun because it was subtle. There is no monsters in that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's just the stairs, the bloods, the green slimes coming down the stairs, and there's just the glasses are in there. So yeah, that one was fun because that was, again, more subtle than a lot of the other pieces. Monster Blood 2 is the one that has Cuddles the hamster in it, and that's always fun too, where you take something that is usually cute, and you just distort it until it's not cute anymore. And then to round it out would be The Curse of Camp Cold Lake.
Oh, okay. That's a good one too. Yeah.
That's one of the later ones, but the reflection in the water of the skull head and the boat off in the distance. Yeah, that one, that has that's classic horror in its field.
Yeah, I was actually just looking at that one too, because I was just kind of running through like the ones I wanted to pick out, and that one always stood out just because compared to the other ones, I don't know, that one always creeped me out the most.
Yeah, that one has a higher
sure.
creep factor, and it has the stupid eyes that follow you wherever you go.
Yeah.
And, all that stuff.
Also, The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb was also really cool. That's an awesome cover as well. There's
Yeah,
so many. There's so many of them.
See, and that was that was the real gift for me as an illustrator, because when you usually get on a series, it's whatever the series is. If this was Harry Potter and I was the Harry Potter book artist, every book would have Harry Potter, have Harry Potter's friends, the castle, this or that, but they would all be this similar ongoing thing.
Yeah.
Goosebumps, man, it was a different monster in a different town with different kids and different. Every story was completely different. So I was as surprised as you guys were when I would get the sheet from them and go, all right, what are we doing this month? And so it's the overall abundance of subject matter, and that's 100% R.L. Stine. That's him just coming up with new stuff every time, and he continues to do it today.
Yeah. Nonstop.
How long did you get to turn it around? Like when you were given the sheet, you were given the idea. Like how long did you basically get to get?
So we were
piece?
in the heyday. We were doing the books had to come out once a month. So RL had the harder task. He had a whole book to write during that month. And so he would get started. I would get the info, and I could do my part in about a week.
Wow.
Maybe a day and a half, 2 days for a day and a half for sketches, and then the rest of the week, 30 hours or so to wrap up the painting and get it out the door. And because we were on such a tight schedule, so in the book business, there's usually a lot of, or anytime you do an Illustrator, there's usually a lot of people in on it, and they have lots of comments and questions and corrections, and like your art it becomes art by committee. Because we were going so fast, it was basically, here's the painting, oh, I like it, start the next one, hurry up. So
did you ever
it was good.
Did you ever kind of turn in a piece of work or finish a piece of work, and then Scholastic or R.L. Stine would go, actually, we're not keen, so you'd have to kind of go back to the drawing board and start again? Or?
Well, everything happened everything was done in, they would get 3 sets of pencil sketches, and they were rendered pretty nicely. So there wasn't a lot of mystery of what was going to happen when I got to the painting. The classic story that I tell often, the only one that was a mandatory change was Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes. If you're not familiar with it, or the people listening, there's 2 gnomes on the cover. One guy has his arms folded. And then the guy behind him is there scratching his head. In the original, the guy scratching his head was picking his nose. When I turned it in, everybody's like, right on, that's so funny, perfect, that's great, this is great. And then right when we were getting ready to go to print, somebody somebody up the chain said, well, we are putting these things in the Scholastic book clubs, and they're going directly into the schools. somebody's going to say something. So how about can you pull his finger out of his nose, please?
Oh man.
So, yeah.
Oh,
So
man.
at the last minute, that's all I had to do was move a finger. So if that's all the corrections you have to do, I did all right.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually,
Wow.
I think I read that or heard that somewhere, that story.
Yeah,
So
I've told that one a couple of times, but what I am upset about is I didn't get a reproduction of it the original way, with the finger
man.
up the nose.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
I'd be using that one for sure.
Oh
You
yeah.
should be selling prints of the original one with the finger up the nose, man. That'd be great. What's the link with the Converse sneakers? Because I know there's a lot of the images that you painted have got this quite Converse appear quite often.
Yeah, so mostly it was at the beginning, it was totally me entertaining myself. Those were sneakers that me and my friends wore. I still have them out
Nice.
now.
Yeah.
So it's not like a pretend thing. I just wore them all the time. And at the beginning, it was kind of like, oh, I'm putting my sneakers in there. That's what it was at the beginning. And then I used to always either get a copy of the book or go to the store and buy a copy. And I gave them to my mom. So she had her own set of Goosebumps books. And, my mom was sweet, just, that's so cool. I'm so proud of you stuff.
Awesome.
But every time those sneakers popped up, she'd go, oh, and there's those stinking sneakers. So it was, again, it was also in the long run, it became a way for me to torment my mom. So.
Oh, wow. That's really funny.
That's excellent. You should do like a Goosebumps collaboration with Converse or.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be,
that would be great.
That would be fun. Yeah, that would be a really good one.
I'm surprised they haven't reached out to you.
Yeah,
truckload of sneakers.
Hell, I would have taken a free pair of sneakers. That would have been nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I've been buying these things for like 40 years now, and it'd be really nice to get a free pair.
Yeah, come on, that's what you're playing at. Damn it. Am I right in thinking that R.L. Stine sold more books than Stephen King? Did I read that right somewhere?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's
true.
100% true.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's sold. I think I'll get this right. He's sold almost or over 400 million books and 380 million or 350 million or Goosebumps, some breakdown
it's a ridiculous
along those
number.
lines. It's sick.
Insane,
it's absolutely sick.
And
that's
awesome.
And then they do that thing where if they were laid end to end, they go around the planet twice or some. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts.
Does that blow your mind that your artwork is just sitting on?
Yeah.
It would blow my mind.
Yes. Not even. It never. All of this is something that I think I appreciate more than anybody. That here we are 30 years later and we're still talking about this.
Yeah.
This should have been over and done with. And the fact that it's something that almost everybody in your generation, you can just say it and everybody knows it. And they know of a copy, or they know a lot of copies. I can flip up any one of my things and people go, I know the name of that.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing, absolutely mind blowing.
Well, it was kind of breathed new life into it with the whole Jack Black movie as well. That kind of,
Sure did.
Might not have known much about Goosebumps. We were introduced to it through that movie, perhaps. I don't know, like a new generation. Which, incidentally, what did you think of his portrayal of R.L. Stine? It's kind of a bit of a mismatch, I think, but he really pulled it off. I think.
Yeah, absolutely. When Goosebumps was hot in the 90s, there was talk of, there's going to be a Goosebumps movie, and they never got off the ground. They kind of get some excitement, and then it would die off. Tim Burton was supposed to do it at one time.
Oh, cool. And, that would have been cool.
Yeah, all of them sounded good, but it just never. I was never close enough to know what the reason was that it never went all the way through. But so when I started to hear the rumors about something coming out in the late 2000 and 15, 17, whatever year it came out. I'm going, no way. Like, we couldn't do it in the heyday. This shit's not happening now.
Yeah.
And then I ran into, I went to an event and RL was there, and he's like, yeah, it's really happening. And I'm going, I'm reading, Jack Black, and he goes, yeah. And I was just going, I was like, I got worried because, we have this thing that everybody still likes. Is he gonna be, is Jack Black going to turn this into something else, or is the idea to turn this into something else? My whole thing was, man, I hope they don't mess it up.
Yeah,
that's all.
Exactly.
I don't care. I'm not I'm not making any money off of this. Just don't wreck it.
Exactly.
And I, and again, as we got closer, I'm going, I know, I've seen Jack Black as an actor. I love him. He's fun. He's funny.
Yeah.
I love, Tenacious D, all of that stuff. I think it's wild.
Yeah.
But I also know who Bob Stein is, and they aren't even close to one another.
Yeah.
And yet when the movie rolled in and he started to play it, you just went, oh, that works. Oh, that really works.
Right,
So it was a nice surprise. It was a great thing. What I like about it is it's also its own thing.
Yeah.
And you can appreciate, like, even if you knew nothing about Goosebumps, you could enjoy that. And if you were a huge Goosebumps fan, there was nothing in there where you went, oh, that sucks, blah, blah, they should have done that, or why'd they do that? Or, it was all right there. So I enjoyed it very much.
I agree. I really enjoyed the movie. I've actually watched it multiple times, but I still watch the TV show because it's still on Netflix, and I watched it with my 4-year-old son, and he loves it. So like, I'm even breathing, Goosebumps into his life now, and
that's what it is. It's the multiple generation thing. Yeah. See,
I'm a 43-year-old man, and I watch it on my own. I don't even watch it with my own son. I love it.
Yeah.
But you got to admit, it's way better watching the TV show on Netflix now than back then, because in the 90s, that was state of the art. That was as good as TV got. Now you're watching it going, my God, what did they have? $14 to make an episode? These are so it's so Bush League. And then the dialogue, you just start laughing. You're like, oh yeah, that's how they thought everybody talked. Okay, yeah, that's funny.
Oh, I love because there's some who's an actor popped up in one the other day. I think it was Ryan Gosling, a young Ryan Gosling. I was like,
you'll be surprised.
Is that Ryan Gosling? As a kid, that's funny.
Yeah, but a lot of old shows, you see, big name actors now, and like all these old shows, like X-Files had people in it, and Goosebumps had people in it, and now they're big stars.
Yeah.
My son, he loves Slappy, so anytime Slappy's there, he has the first book with him in it, and he loves it. I read it to him probably like once a week, because that's the other thing, is like they're so digestible, the books, that you can just fly right through them, and it's easier for him to understand too. So that's another thing I always really loved about the books, because you could get it done with one in like an hour if you really wanted to.
Yes, exactly.
And then just stare at the cover. This kind of leads me to another question too, because you do sell all the prints online. Is there one that sells more than the others?
Yes. Well, I don't keep exact numbers, but I know, you just know every day when you're filling orders. It's A Day at Horrorland, I believe, is the top one. Second one is The Haunted Mask. Third one is Slappy.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah.
Those are ones that you.
And then after that, it drops off real hard and fast, and it could be any of them. Then the rest of them all fall in some other area, but those three all the time.
Do you ship them overseas, Tim?
I don't, because it's such a burn. the posters don't cost much, but the shipping is
Yeah.
either double or triple. You know, like I feel awful to go, oh yeah, here's your $20 poster, and you owe me $45 for me to
Yeah.
ship it to you. That's terrible.
Yeah.
So I did it for a while, and then I stopped just because it was it hurt my heart.
Yeah, I feel that, man. I feel that. Shipping's ridiculous. I make my own hot sauce, and
Yeah.
I only do it in the UK because I get a lot of people in the States saying just ship to the US. I'm like, I'd love to, but for the same reason,
exactly.
it costs a fortune.
And I was trying to figure out, like, again, there is no good answer, but if there was like, all right, why don't all you guys get together and order, like 12 of them, and then you all meet somewhere and you get them that way, and then it becomes worth a while. So anyway, that's the trouble with that.
Dustin, I'll have to get you to order me one from Tim, and when I come over to the
States, I'm in the US and Dean's in the UK, so we kind of have like a dynamic here. I actually have Dean's thing for his hot sauce right here. So this is his little thing right here. That's awesome. He came over to the States and he dropped me off a couple, so that's how I got those. So
yeah, we came over to visit in April. We went to meet Dustin, and he took us around Salem. We went to Salem, incredible place, man. And
very cool.
Box of hot sauce, and we hung out, man. It was very cool.
Yeah, it was a great time. Tim, I'm curious, do you attend conventions at all?
Yes, I do. It's been we've been doing a decent number. Everybody got shut down there for a while, and last year was kind of, everybody was trying to get them going, but you'd go to some shows and they'd be very light on attendance, and it was kind of hit and miss. This past year has been pretty crazy, and the past 3 months, the past 3 cons that I've been to have been just off the rails with being full of people. And the other important part, our key part, is although the places are full, you can tell everybody is there and they're relaxed and they're having fun.
Exactly.
Where in the past it was a little tense, and people were tense, and you could see they'd be tense with each other, and it was just fun. The like I said, the last 3 conventions were just plain all out fun.
That's awesome.
So yes, I try to get it. In a perfect world, I go out once a month. And it's very fun because it's, you get to see and talk to people in person. And I'm always, again, going back to the same thing, I'm always taken back that how many people, still know Goosebumps and still love it, and are, even if, what's funny is, I have the backdrop that says, Goosebumps, Tim Jacobus behind it, and nobody knows my face. And a lot of people don't know, like, I'm not the headliner at the comic convention. William Shatner is the headliner, and so a lot of people do like the double take. They walk by like, oh my god, holy shit, it's Goosebumps.
Whoa, and, I gotta get my book signed.
Exactly. I didn't know you'd be here. Are you the one I get the most? Because they're like, are you the guy? I'm going, why else would I be here? Of course I'm the guy.
No, I'm filling in for
some old dude to stand behind the table and.
Oh man, that's great. That's great.
We'd love to get you to conventions over. I'm a vendor at a lot of conventions over here in the UK, man. We'd love to have you over some.
That'd be fun. Cool. The other, so now it's fun once you get to the cons. Getting there has been a little bit of a challenge this year with flight cancellations and bags getting lost, and that can put a damper on a weekend. But again, all of it's good. I don't want to sit here and complain and say, oh my god, it's been a blast. So the next big one I have, and it'll be the biggest one, is I've never been to the New York Comic Convention. So
I might have to go.
That's in October. That's a monster. Yeah, that's a real monster.
Yeah, I live in Massachusetts, so that's not too far away from me.
Okay.
So, yeah,
whereabouts?
I live in Taunton, Massachusetts. It's a little south of Boston, about 45 minutes. So A little small town, but I've been trying to go to more conventions this year, so hopefully I'll see you around on some
I
of
was
them.
supposed to be in Boston this weekend, and there was an issue. It was a contract thing.
Yeah.
Somebody forgot to send it to me. When they sent it to me, and I tried to get it back, they already had the slot filled, and so those things happen. But yeah, my sister lives up in Boston, so I was
Oh,
going to
okay,
try
awesome.
I was going to try to do a double hit, but we'll do it at another time.
Do you just mainly do like Comic Cons, or do you try to do like horror conventions too? Because I think
Yeah, I'll do horror conventions. I've only done a couple. They're always great,
you would thrive. You would thrive in those more than I think than
Yeah,
Comic Cons. For
yeah.
sure.
So yeah, I'm
agree.
I'm just starting to figure out who who are the people who are running, the bigger ones, and yeah, I did one in outside of Detroit, Astronomicon.
Oh, okay,
And
yep, I've heard of that
yeah,
one.
and it's a smaller one, but man, it was the best. I mean, such a great time, wonderful people, and they are their own society,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, lots of fun.
Yeah, the horror community, because that's like what we're really a part of too. It definitely holds everybody, up. We're always there to support everybody,
Yes,
and
yeah,
you definitely fall in
absolutely.
line. So
Yeah, exactly. It's truly a community.
yeah. So
There's some
I really
huge
do hope to see you around very, very soon. I'm gonna try to get to the Park one for sure.
All
there's some
right.
real huge horror conventions over there as well, isn't there, Dustin? Like Texas Frightmare's a
There's a
huge one, I
lot.
think.
Even
New
Yeah, the
smaller ones
Jersey.
Texas
are big,
Frightmare
man.
one I've been working on, and I can't get anybody's attention over there.
And the
Oh,
New
man.
Jersey Horror Con, the New Jersey Horror Con's a huge one.
Yeah, I think that one's in Cherry Hill, I think. Yeah, again, got close a couple times, but yeah, it's funny. There's so many people who try to get into them. They can't.
Yeah.
It's hard for them to sort through
Yeah.
everybody who bombards them, and a lot of times it's if you know somebody who's in there, they can get you in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It just takes a little time. That's all.
Well, if you
Yeah.
ever go to the UK, Dean will sneak you in.
All right.
Oh yeah,
Perfect.
man. Well, as I
Perfect.
say, I'm kind of on the whole Comic Con circuit throughout the whole of the UK. We travel up and down. We was in Scotland a month or so back.
I'd love that. Oh, that would be a blast. I would do that in a heartbeat. So
We just come back from Wales this weekend, and the weekend before was in Manchester, and next week I'm in Hertfordshire. We get all over the place. But yeah, I've actually kind of know all the people who run the conventions quite well now. So I've been doing it for a few years. So yeah, man, if you ever fancy it, I can
all right.
always put a word in, man, for sure. You're the Goosebumps eyes, man. Yeah, right, they'd love to have you.
You guys should do a collab for your hot sauces. That would be freaking awesome too.
One thing at a time. One thing at a time.
That kind of leads to another
Hell
question
yeah.
as well, Tim. Are you still active and doing art commissions for other companies, or are you kind of just doing your
Sure.
own independent art right now?
Yeah, it's independent art. I do illustrate. There's always an illustration on the board. I'm taking care of some pencil drawings right now. I was on a call today with somebody who's got a very big name. I can't say who it is, and I don't know if it's going to go anywhere, but it was a nice conversation. So there's always stuff going on. I also am an art director at a small studio. That's that helps pay the bills, and I do that on a regular basis as well. So I've been totally blessed that art is what I do, and I do it all the time, and people still want me to do it. And I think that the most current piece that I did that is out there and is cool is R.L. Stine is doing a new graphic novel called The Stuff of Nightmares.
Yes, I was reading
Yeah.
up on that.
Yeah, and it's for you guys, the grown-up Goosebumps horror fans. I read, like I said, I got a condensed version of what it was about, and it's dark and it's pretty wicked. And
wow.
yeah, I got a chance to do one of the variant covers, and that comes out
Oh,
next month
yes.
at the end of the month. So yeah, I'm hoping that that gets some traction, and we get a chance to do some more,
Well,
because
I'll be pre-ordering that. Don't worry. I'll
there
probably
you
gonna
go.
pre-order
All
like
right,
3
all
copies. I'll
right.
get one for you,
Oh,
Dean.
I can't wait for that, man. That sounds
Yes.
incredible.
Awesome.
Have you got any advice that you can give for up and coming artists who are trying to break through and do illustrating as a kind of full-time career? Any kind of
So
advice you can offer for that?
I can't give you the this is how you do it. You know, this is A, this is B, because every single thing that I had to do when I did it in the 80s, you don't do it like that anymore. Nothing applies. From all your art was traditional. You stuck it in a portfolio case. You carried your portfolio case into the city, and you hand delivered everything to where you needed to go. And you hope somebody got a chance to look at it. And if you were lucky enough, they'd let you in and you talk to somebody. Like, everything was hands-on. Everything was analog. And the world doesn't operate that way anymore.
Yeah,
So and I've talked about this before, and it's kind of an important point. I was blessed enough that I lived my whole life. I've lived around 50 miles outside of New York City. So New York was accessible. So I could get in there physically with my art in my hand and show people. And if I lived in Pittsburgh, Tim Jacobus doesn't become an artist. Like, I'm too far away from the business. And the fact that, I was able to be inside that imaginary circle around the city made all the difference in the world. So, but now all those circles have disappeared. The digital world has opened up every market to everyone. So yes, that's great that anybody has access to those same book publishers, but anybody has access to those same book publishers. So the numbers are crazy, and you have to come up with very clever ways to get people to see your artwork. So the most important thing that I can say as a piece of advice is treat your art or your music or whatever your pursuit is. I don't care if you're want to be a welder. Treat it like it's as important as your health or your diet or whatever that may be. I'm going to use health as the example. If you're a healthy individual, you make sure that you go and you work out every day, and you carve out time every day to do that pursuit. You have to treat your art the same way. You carve out hours and you say, I'm doing my art. And it doesn't have to be a lot. Don't be, don't drive yourself crazy and go, I'm not going to sleep and I'm going to do it for 6 hours a night, every night. Fuck that. That's not going to work. Make it a reasonable, and maybe make it a graduating thing, and say, okay, I'm going to do 1 hour a night, 3 nights a week, but I can't miss. And again, it's that sense of accomplishment. And once you get that together and you go, all right, that's not too bad. I could do that every day or every day. And now you got, you're getting closer to a full day, 8 hours in on your art. So treat it that way, treat it with discipline, treat it with respect, and you're going to get better. And the goal is not, am I going to be famous or am I going to be rich? The goal is, are you going to be a better artist? And you will be if you just do that very simple thing. So that's the one that works the best, because this truly is a numbers game. The amount of time that you spend doing it is 100% the reason why you get better.
Wow, that's a
great
really good advice right there. Wow, I
I
never heard of it be put that way, so that's awesome. So hopefully everybody can tune into that, and if that's something they want to do, then just work off of those building blocks right there, and then
Exactly.
Sky's the limit.
It's all steps.
Sky's the limit. I think that's pretty much all the questions I have. Dean, I don't know if you had any that you had left.
No, man, that was my final one I had written down. Yeah,
Yeah, this was a blast.
I don't want to
Absolute
keep
blast.
Tim too much longer, man. But yeah, it's been it's been one of my favorite chats, man. I've really enjoyed
Oh,
it.
thank you. I enjoyed it too, because we were talking about doing it too, like doing art, not just, what have I done in the past. So I always like that too. Sometimes we get in the weeds and you start talking about techniques and stuff like that, but that's fun for me.
Yeah, that's what I kind of like to do on these is like bring you on in a certain topic and then kind of just like go all over the place,
Right,
keep it intriguing.
exactly.
So I'm glad that you had a good time and you took some time out of your day to talk to Dean
Man.
and I.
Thank you very much.
This is awesome, and I really do hope I bump into you into some
Yeah.
conventions and you get over there with Dean and you rock the
Absolutely.
UK.
Yeah.
There's like sky's the limit on that too. Go to all the conventions, do everything, man. That's
Oh,
your
we
new life.
love to have you over here, man. Yeah, I'll definitely start putting the feelers around. But yeah, that'd be amazing, dude. Yeah.
Very cool.
So thank you so much, Tim, for being on and chatting with us about Goosebumps and everything else. This was really a blast, and I can't wait for the new R.L. Stine book to come out because I do want to see how dark that is. I really, really do. So it's awesome that you're a part of it. So thank you very much. And I guess this is us signing off. This is the Barrens Hideout Podcast. That was Tim with our new co-host Dean for his 3rd episode. This was such a blast. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you on the next one.
Peace out.